Okay, we are done with interpreting the payment terms or how the payment terms works considering the invoice date. So this time, we are going to interpret a certain problem considering with a little computation, okay, with a cash discount with respect to the payment terms. So before we proceed to the formal problem solving, you have to identify this one. In solving the problem, take note of the following. In solving problems involving invoices and cash discount, first is you have to take down the invoice date. Second is the total invoice amount. Third is the payment terms. And fourth is the payment date. Okay, let's try to look at it. Okay, let's try to solve this one. Okay, for example number 1, let me read to you the example number 1. The total bill of an invoice dated March 12, 2020 is 15,225. If the bill has payment terms of 5 over 15, N over 30, and is paid on March 24, find the amount of cash discount and the amount due. Again and again, what are the things that we have to take down notes? Or in every time you solve a problem? First is, what is the invoice date? What is the invoice date of example number 1? The invoice dated March 12. Very good. Second is, what is the total invoice amount? So very obvious, the total bill is 15,225. That is supposed to be the amount that you are going to pay. That is the total invoice amount. What is the payment terms? The payment terms, same thing that we discussed earlier in this video. Payment terms are 5 over 15 and N over 30. And lastly, you have to identify the payment date. What is the payment date? The buyer paid on March 24. So the question is, let's try to find the amount of cash discount and the amount rate or the amount due. Okay, so this, how are we going to solve this one? So from the previous example, we take down or we noted the following. Invoice date, March 12. Total invoice amount, that is 15,225. Payment term is 5 over 15 and N over 30. Payment date is on March 24. So we have to identify the cash amount. And second is the amount of payment. If ever the buyer granted the certain cash discount. So here are the formula on solving the cash discount at the same time the amount of payment. Cash discount can be derived from the total amount of invoice multiplied to the cash discount rate. Where can you when are you able to see the total amount of invoice? Here. The cash discount rate here, but still depend on the situation. And the amount payment is the total amount of invoice subtracted to the cash discount. So here are the formula in solving the following terms. Again and again, you have to identify first invoice date, total invoice amount, the payment terms, and the payment date. So here are the formula. The question first here, is the buyer granted the 5% or no discount? Considering that the invoice date is March 12 and the payment date is March 24. Until when that the buyer granted with 5% discount. That is 15 days after March 12. Is March 24 belongs to the first 15 days after March 12? Obviously, that is under the first 15 days. Simply 15, 12 plus 15, that is 27. So that is until March 27. In short, the buyer here is granted with 5% because the payment is done on March 24 and that is in between, that is within the first 15 days after March 12. Okay, so meaning the buyer is granted with 5% discount amount. So meaning, here are we going to solve that one. Cash discount is this one. 15,225. That is the total invoice amount multiplied to the cash discount. Since the buyer is granted with 5% because he paid within the first 15 days after March 12, therefore 5% is granted. So simply multiply. Why we put 0.05? Simply because 5% you have to convert the 22 decimal point. So that is 0.05. 15,225 times 0.05. That is equivalent to 761.25. And I do hope every one of you is holding a calculator beside you for you to check if everything works well. Okay? So that is the cash discount 761.25. That is the cash discount. So what does it mean? That is deducted to the total amount, which is 15,000. How are we going to identify the amount of payment? The amount of payment, that is the total invoice amount, which is 15,000, subtracted to the cash with a cash discount amount, which is 761.25. So meaning the total amount of payment now is 14,463.75. Okay? So meaning the cash discount is 761.25. The amount of payment is 463.75. That's how we solve problem number 1. Okay? Without further ado, let's proceed to problem number 3. Problem number 2. Okay. So same thing, people. I have here the invoice date, August 5. The total invoice amount, again, the total invoice amount, that is the amount you purchased. Okay, that is 25,700. The payment term is 5/10, 2/30, and N/60. And the payment is done on August 25. Okay. Before is, let's identify what is asked in this problem. First is, find the cash discount. Second is, amount of payment. So, first thing first, the payment is done last August 25. The invoice date is August 5. And the payment term is, you will be granted 5% if you paid within the first 10 days. What is the first 10 days after August 5? That is August 15. The payment is done August 25, meaning the buyer is not granted with 5% because that is no longer the first 10 days. Let's proceed here. 2/30. What is 2/30? That is 11 to the 30th day, meaning the first 30 days. Is August 25 fall under the first 30 days? Is August 30 fall in the first 30 days? Yes, because simply August 5 plus 30, that is now September. And obviously, August 25 fall under the first 30 days. So meaning, the buyer is granted with 2% cash discount rate. Okay, that's how we solve that one. So cash discount, what is 25,000? It is the total invoice amount multiplied to 2%. Why 2%? Because the payment is done after the first 30 days. That is why 2% is only granted for the buyer. So once you multiply that one, that is 514. 514 is deducted to the total invoice amount to get the amount of payment. That is 25,186. Okay? That's how we solve example number 2. Let's proceed to example number 3. Okay. For example number 3, the invoice date is September 11. The total invoice amount is 18,650. And the payment terms is 3/10 EOM. What is EOM again? EOM is on the next month. Next month after September. That is now on October. The first 10 days of the next month. Okay. So the payment is done on October 7. Question is the buyer granted with the 3% discount rate? Yes. Because EOM, that is 10 EOM, the first 10 days of the next month. Next after September, that is October. So the first 10 days, that is between October 1 to October 10. Is October 7 fall under October 1 to October 10? Yes. So meaning, the buyer is granted 3% discount rate. Okay? So therefore, the total invoice now here is 18,650 multiplied to 3% because October 7 is under the first 10 days of the next month after September. So we will be granted 3%. So once you multiply, that is 559.50. So meaning 559 will be deducted to the amount of payment or the total invoice amount, which is 18,650, and that is now 18,990.50. So meaning this will be the amount that you are going to pay after deducted with 3%. So that's how the example number 3 works. Again, I know this may be hard for some of you, but let's keep learning, okay? Continue learning. So now let's proceed to example or our last example in this video. In this video, we have invoice date of January 6, the total invoice of 35,400. The payment term is this one, 30 over 10 plus 30x and over 60. Payment date is February 27. Okay, the payment is done February 27. The question is the buyer granted with 3%? Okay, so the again and again, when we encounter 10 plus 3x, that is 10 days plus 30, that is 40 days after the invoice date. What is 30 days after January 6? That is 40 days rather. 40 days after January 6. So first 30 days is first 10, 16, 16, that is February 15. Okay? So 40 days after January 6 is February 14. So meaning, as you can observe, the payment is done February 27. That is after the 40 days or beyond 40 days. Meaning, the buyer is not granted with 3% because the buyer exceeded the time period. So meaning, you are going to proceed it here, n over 60. Is the buyer fall between the 60 days after the invoice date time period? Yes. Okay. So meaning, the buyer is fall under n over 60. Again, when we say n, that is 0% cash discount. Excuse me. Again, n is again, n means 0%. So meaning, our rate here is 0, 0 because the buyer is no longer granted with the 3%. So let's proceed to n. So that is 35,400 times 0, which is 0, and multiply, meaning the payment or the buyer should pay the full amount. What is the full amount? 35,400. That's how everything works in the business industry. That's how we interpret the payment terms and so on and so forth. So that ends my video for today. As a summary, we've learned a lot of things, especially this one. The invoices, payment time period, and of course, the payment terms. If you still have hard time this one, I still have another video for you. Okay, so that ends my video. If you still have hard time, you may review it again and again because the video is still in my YouTube channel. And again, this is Business 101 with Sir Raubensun, your partner in learning mathematics. But before you end this video, do not forget to give me a thumbs up if my video helps you, and do not forget to click the subscribe button. Again and again, this is Sir Raubensun. See you in my next video. Bye-bye!